Hi, my name is Jeremy Schulman. You can find me on Twitter as Network Automaniac. That's NWK Automaniac. And in this video, I'm going to demonstrate a new library that I've developed for the Slack platform for Python developers using the Slack Bolt framework, which is provided by the Slack company, through their Slack community. And Slack Bolt is a way for you to quickly create applications in Python. And one of the use cases or the challenges that I have when I'm building Slack applications is that I want to control who gets to do what with either a command or a response to a message. And commonly we would use the term role-based access control for that kind of control mechanism. So out of the box, Slack as a platform does not have native RBAC controls. But what it does have is the ability to integrate with a protocol, a standards-based protocol that is called SCIM, S-C-I-M. And you can use that in a way to create the effective role-based access control. So I'm going to demonstrate the code to you really quickly so you can see how this works. Now, I have a little sample which I'm going to start, and if I were to try to do a command, like I'll say hi to my chatbot and he says, hey, how are you? So I know he's running. And if I did like say show port, now these commands don't do anything other than just kind of echo back, hey, I'm going to do this thing. But if I try to do something bounce port, and in the case where I'm not authorized to do that, I get this kind of built-in default response, you're not authorized, because my user ID in Slack is not part of a SCIM group that I've decided is associated with this command. So let's look at the code real quick. What we're looking at is this code right here. So I've defined with Python Bolt an app, and it's going to look for a message that has the word bounce port in it. That's pretty standard. And the library that I've created provides this middleware component called async Slack SCIM RBAC. And what you do is you provide it the SCIM group name that is required to perform this command. So I've just made one up called ChatOps Bozo, Now, I am not a member of ChatOps Bozo. In fact, ChatOps Bozo doesn't really exist. But because I'm not part of that, you saw this error message, which is the default error message. Now, if I actually gave it a group that I am a member of in my Slack grid, so this is all a function of using Slack grid in the enterprise, I'm going to restart my app. So now I should pass through this, and I should see this bouncing port for you. So I always like to say hi to my chatbot, make sure he's okay, and then I'll do bounce port. So in this case I passed the check, so to speak, because my user ID is a member of this SCIM group. Now, how does SCIM work? Well, we actually use a single sign-on system, Okta in our case, and in Okta, which is really what controls user-to-group relationships, Okta is configured to push the group information to Slack grid. And so as we have new users in our team in NetInfra, they would be added into our Active Directory, which then gets kind of sucked into Okta, and that Okta pushes that group ChatOps NetInfra to Slack, and it all kind of works together like that. So that's the basic mechanics of responding to, in this case, a message event. Now, if you happen to not like the default message, which is kind of built into the middleware, you can always override the class definition, async Slack SCIM RBAC, or you can just provide your own handler. So in this case, I have this new handler called No You Can't, and all the handler is going to do is it's going to behave like any other Bolt listener. So you can pass it, any of the parameters that Bolt listeners allow. So in this case, I'm going to get the Bolt context and the say parameter, the say arguments. And I'm just going to say, nope, sorry, username, you don't have permissions to do that. So this is a way that I can customize the response to the user. So in order to do that, I will restart my app and say hi and bounce port. And I forgot to change this back to Bozo, so let's just change that to Bozo again and repeat the process here. Start that back up. Bounce port. And so you can see like this is the new message. So as a developer, if you want to customize what happens, you can just give it a function, really an async function here. Now that's an example of responding to messages. But let's say that you have a command, like a slash command, and in this case, we have a slash command called rbacker. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use two facets of the Slack Bolt listener. One is, this is the command slash rbacker. And then I'm going to use a facility they have called matchers, which is just to make sure that the command text includes the word bounce port. So that has to occur for this to be a bounce port. And then I have this middleware here. Again, I'm going to change this to Bozo. So it doesn't, it basically will trip. And here, in this case, I'm going to do a modal because modals allow you to create these kind of pop-ups responding to interactions that have trigger IDs. Messages don't have trigger IDs, but a slash command or a response to a button press, for example, will give you a trigger ID. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a modal that's going to pop up and give you kind of this text. So I'm going to, again, kill it and restart. Oops. And start it back up. And in this case, I'm going to use the slash command. So rbacker, and I'm going to say bounce port. And in this case, I get this pop-up, permission denied, which is kind of a bummer. But that was the message that is provided here. So again, this is a new middleware component that I've created for Python. I've done all my work in async because I program mostly in async mode. But if you don't program in async mode, there'll be a synchronous Slack SCIM RBAC mechanism as well, so you can use frameworks that are not asynchronous. So I hope you found this interesting. I will include the link to the repo and this video under the video. And if you're new to the whole Python Slack Bolt programming environment, I've also included in the README some resources. The Slack company just did a great video getting started with Slack Bolt for PyCon 2021, so I listed that. If you're new to the whole SCIM, and if you're curious what SCIM stands for, let's see, what does SCIM stand for? I wrote it in here somewhere. Well, I can't find where SCIM is. Oh, here it is. Yeah. System for Cross-Domain Identity Management, SCIM. So if you want to learn more about that, there's an article I've linked here. So hopefully you'll find that useful. And again, if you have any questions, just post them under the link. All right. Thank you.